The animal kingdom has many secrets yet to be revealed, but trying to discover them is one of the most rewarding things we can do. Although this AnimalWised list of 100 facts about wild animals only scratches the surface, it's a great place to start. They are flightless birds. The fossil record has made it possible to know a little about the penguin's ancestors. Some 30 million years ago, they began to hunt underwater. This likely started an evolutionary process which led to atrophy of the wing joints, which are shaped like fins. They only live in the south of the planet. The natural habitat of all penguin species can be found on the south of our planet. Some live in Antarctica, some live in more temperate southern areas, while only one species lives near the equator, the Galapagos penguin. These birds are found in countries such as Argentina, Australia, Chile, New Zealand, South Africa, Namibia, and some remote islands of the southern hemisphere. They are not sexually dimorphic. This means there are no easily observable differences between males and females. They tend to be similar in terms of coloration, presenting bluish-black plumage on the dorsal side and white on the belly. Many species have some much brighter plumage on the head. These colours provide better camouflage against predators. When they are swimming, predators find it difficult to distinguish the white belly when looking up to the illuminated surface, and the reverse occurs when looking down into darker waters. They are monogamous. Penguins mate for life. During the reproductive season, penguins maintain stable pairs so they do not have contact with other individuals. This doesn't apply to all types of birds. In some cases, pairs may reform for several consecutive years and even use the same nesting site. See the results of such mating behaviours with the video we share above of a chin-strap penguin hatching. They are excellent parents. Penguins share the incubation of the eggs and the subsequent protection and feeding of their chicks. We can highlight the example of the emperor penguin, where the male spends more time incubating than the female. They also feed the newborns while the mother eats. More than most, they are birds that spend a lot of time caring for their children. There is an International Penguin Day. Of the 18 species of penguin, 13 are included in categories of animals either vulnerable to or in more direct danger of extinction. For this reason, certain strategies have been created to promote their conservation. One such initiative is the declaration of April 25th as International Penguin Day, as well as January 20th as Penguin Awareness Day. They live in large colonies. Penguins are social birds that form large colonies in which they share nesting spaces. Some colonies can become incredibly numerous. This is the case of the macaroni penguin, where breeding colonies have been estimated up to 100,000 individuals. Their group activities not only include sharing spaces and interacting with each other, but in some cases they also hunt in groups. They are carnivorous birds. Their diet is based mainly on the consumption of other animals. They are also excellent marine predators. These birds consume fish such as anchovies, sardines and cod, among others. They also eat squid, cuttlefish, krill, jellyfish, larvae and eggs. Their body has adapted to being underwater. Penguin plumage increases in density during their evolution, allowing them to be practically impermeable as water cannot penetrate. Their blood can also store greater amounts of oxygen than other birds thanks to changes in their hemoglobin. This allows them to dive for several minutes at a time. Their heart rate is lower, optimizing bodily functions and oxygen consumption underwater. The excess salt they consume by swallowing salt water while feeding submerged is compensated thanks to specialized glands which help to excrete this mineral. They are very good swimmers. Thanks to the previously described adaptations, penguins have developed a body that allows them to be excellent swimmers, unlike their mobility on land. Once they are submerged, they can be propelled with great speed. In certain circumstances, this can reach 15 miles or 25 kilometers per hour. They can also dive to depths of up to 500 meters. If these penguin facts surprised you, these 10 curious facts about turtles will make your head spin. They do not have teeth, but this isn't a limitation of their ability to feed. Some species, such as the leatherback turtle, have keratinized structures on their palate, around their jaw, and even down towards the esophagus. These help them to retain and process food. Other species, such as the green turtle, rely on their hooked beaks to hold food. They do not have vocal cords, but this doesn't prevent them from emitting various types of sounds to communicate. Although we cannot clearly hear all sounds made by these animals, they emit sounds of different type and frequency. For example, tortoises make certain sounds, often during mating. They don't have ears. Turtles do not have an outer ear, but they do have an auditory system made up of the middle and inner ear, which allows them to process sound and vibration. Their shell is part of the spinal column. A turtle's carapace or shell offers protection against some predators and trauma, although its hardness varies from one species to another. This structure is not an exoskeleton, it's a modification of the animal's rib cage, which is also part of its spine and ribs. Discover the story of a sea turtle that was rescued with a fractured shell in the video that we share above. Not all have the same type of neck. All tortoises are grouped in the order Testudines, but they are divided into two suborders. They are the suborder Pleurodyra, where turtles that can move the head sideways are grouped. This is due to the neck vertebrae flexing laterally. The other is the Cryptodyra suborder. In this group, there are those that are capable of retracting the head into their shell, since the neck vertebrae can flex vertically. There are giant species. There is a group of 12 living turtle species known as Galapagos giant tortoises. These are the largest turtles that currently exist. Some of these can weigh almost 900 pounds and measure 6 feet in length. They communicate before birth. While they are still in the egg and are about to hatch, sea turtles are able to hear the sounds emitted by females waiting in the water. These sounds are to guide the young. The baby sea turtles also make certain sounds to communicate with the other hatchlings waiting to be born, so they can synchronize the hatching. Learn about keeping wild animals as pets in the next info video we share above. Temperature determines sex. In several turtle species, the temperature of the environment where the eggs develop determines the sex of the embryos. However, there is no single process. In some cases, high temperatures cause more females and fewer males to form. In other cases, males are formed if there are intermediate thermal conditions, while females if the temperature is at either extreme. They are very long-lived. Turtles are animals that grow quickly, allowing them to live with less time while their shell develops. Once they have matured, they slow down their development and age quickly. This gives them a potential longevity of more than 100 years, as is the case of the Santiago Island giant tortoise, among others. The Guinness Book of Records lists one of the oldest tortoises to have lived, who died at 188 years of age. In 2006, Adwaita, a giant Aldabra tortoise that lived in a zoo in India, died, who was suspected of being more than 250 years of age. Many species are in danger of extinction. We end with the most devastating turtle fact, namely that there are many turtle species which are threatened for various reasons. For example, in the case of sea turtles, factors such as climate change, pollution, hunting, accidental fishing, and the result of damage from boats have led to a significant impact on these animals. Now we know more about turtles, we can get to know 10 facts about flamingos, one of the most beautiful birds in the world. There are different species. We may think of flamingos as being only one bird species, but there are actually different types with their own characteristics. All flamingo species belong to the family Phenocopteridae, within which we can find 3 officially recognized genera. The 6 known species are the greater flamingo, lesser flamingo, American flamingo, Chilean flamingo, Andean flamingo, and the James's flamingo. They have a wide geographic range. The natural habitat of greater flamingos extends to regions in Africa, Europe, and Asia, being present in the Middle East, Iran, Turkey, Dubai, Afghanistan, West Africa, Ethiopia, Italy, Greece, France, Germany, and Spain, among other countries. Lesser flamingos can be found in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and some areas of Asia. American or Caribbean flamingos are widespread from the southern United States to Ecuador. This leaves us the Chilean, Andean, and James's flamingos, which are found in the south, southeast, and some inland areas of the Neotropical region. They need water to feed themselves. Flamingos belong to a group of animals known as filter feeders. With their long legs, they stand in shallow waters and use their feet to stir up the soil underneath. They then scoop up some of the water in their beak, using their tongue as a kind of pump to filter it through structures in their mouths. They can expel the water, retain food, but then get rid of the waste. Their diet is varied and depends on the environment, but can include mollusks, annelids, larvae, small fish or algae. They eat upside down. The shape of their curved-tipped bill slopes downward. This allows these birds to submerge their head and drink the water with the bottom of their beak. In doing so, they cup the water to carry out their filtration process. Although they are kept upside down, they can freely move their upper jaw, which helps with feeding. Their colour varies according to the species. In general, flamingos have a pink coloration that can vary between species. For example, greater flamingos tend to have a lighter shade of feathers, but the tips of the wings become darker and brighter. American flamingos often have bright pink and red hues throughout their plumage. Chilean flamingos have the greatest diversity of colours since they have combinations that include black, red and shades of pink. The colour depends on the food. The pink hue of flamingos is not a product of their genetic constitution, but depends on their diet, specifically their consumption of small crustaceans. When the bird eats crustaceans, it metabolizes the carotenoids present in these animals, which enter the skin, giving the tone to their feathers. They carry out a complex procession to reproduce. It's usually the larger males who initiate courtship by alerting the rest of the group with certain specific movements. Certain head movements, wing displays, and even walking in a particular way alert females about a desire to copulate, as well as making distinct vocalizations. Size and colour usually play important roles in mate selection. They are excellent parents. All types of flamingos are characterised by being very involved fathers and mothers in the care of their offspring. They incubate the eggs very carefully and then become fully involved with their chicks' development. If the couple manages to establish a strong connection, the survival of the offspring is guaranteed. Both parents participate in the construction of nests, incubation, and subsequent care of the chicks. Did you know that penguins are also great parents? Find out more with the video we share on the card above. They produce milk. Okay, it's not technically milk, but a milk-like substance that both females and males produce to feed their young. This secretion is produced from specialized glands in their digestive tract and is rich in fat, protein and other nutrients. It is known as crop milk and is pink in color due to the carotenoid content. This is the reason why young flamingos take on a similar feather tone to their parents. They are long-lived animals. Flamingos have a high life expectancy, living in the wild between 25 and 35 years. In captivity, they can reach as much as 40 years. Some people love them, others fear them, but no one can deny snakes are one of the most fascinating animals. They belong to a very diverse animal group. Snakes are a curiously diverse group, currently being grouped in the suborder Serpentes. This suborder is subdivided into two infraorders, Scolecophidia and Alethanophidia. The first contains so-called blind snakes, also known as thread snakes, made up of 5 families. In the second, 24 snake types are identified, including false corals, boas, typical snakes, pythons, dwarf boas, vipers, cobras, mambas, marine snakes, among others. Their dimensions are highly variable. Snakes are a very varied group in terms of size. We can currently find some tiny ones, as is the case of the Barbados thread snake at about 4 inches long, and huge snake species. The latter includes the green anaconda, the largest snake in the world. There are records that indicate they measure up to 40 feet in length and weigh over 500 pounds. Not all have the same vision. The senses are a curious aspect in snakes. The vision varies according to snake type. Various species have poor vision, while some arboreal tropical forest snakes are keen-sighted. They don't have ears. In relation to hearing, snakes don't have an external and middle ear, but they are not deaf. They have an inner ear which allows them to register some sounds. These reptiles are quite sensitive and sense vibrations in the ground, which is important for hunting and staying alert. They use their tongue to smell. These animals rely on chemical perception to smell. They use their constantly moving forked tongue. With the tongue, they pick up scent particles as they pass in the air. The particles are introduced into the mouth so that the chemical traces are registered by a structure known as the Jacobson's organ. This is located on the palate and is covered with olfactory tissue, allowing the animal to smell its prey or predators. They detect infrared radiation. A striking aspect of certain snakes such as vipers, pythons and boas is their special thermoreceptor capacity. This is due to structures known as pit organs, holes in their face between the nostrils and the eyes, which have a specialized membrane to detect infrared radiation from potential prey or predators. These structures allow them to easily detect their prey, even in the total absence of light, because they perceive the heat generated by the other individual. They have different hunting strategies and ways of eating. Venomous species use their toxic bite when they catch prey to kill it before ingesting. Those that do not have venom, on the other hand, generally capture their food and kill it by constriction, but some can devour their prey whole while it is still alive. Not all reproduce in the same way. There are oviparous species, as is the case of the python group. They can even take care of their nest until the young are born. Others are ovoviviparous, such as those of the genus Crotalus, commonly known as the rattlesnake, while boas are viviparous snakes. In addition, females can store the sperm after copulation and decide when to fertilize the eggs, even managing to lay them at different intervals of time. Some are poisonous and others are not. It's always important to be careful with these animals, especially if we don't know what we're dealing with. Snake venom is a complex mixture of proteins which have neurotoxic or hemolytic impacts, either affecting the nervous system or causing destruction of red cells in their victims. Interestingly, the saliva of all snakes, including non-venomous ones, has a certain toxic effect, but this is because it is used to initiate pre-digestion of their food before swallowing it. Discover the most poisonous animals in the world in the info video we share above. They are distributed almost all over the world. Snakes are animals that are distributed throughout almost the entire planet, with the exception of Antarctica and some islands. The habitat of these reptiles can be very varied, which is why we find species in jungle, desert, seas, swamps or freshwater areas. Some have semi-aquatic habits and can live in temperate areas. We continue with another of the most fearsome animals with our 10 facts about tigers. They are one of the largest and strongest felines. Males are larger and heavier than females. A male can be an average of around 10 feet in length and weigh more than 660 pounds. Females measure about 8 feet and weigh around 300 pounds. Their massive legs, retractable claws and teeth are their greatest allies in hunting and defense, allowing a tiger to drag an animal twice their weight. Their coat can be of different colors and each pattern is unique. The characteristic color of their fur is intense orange with vertical black stripes that vary in thickness. White fur appears on the face from the neck down to the ventral area. Due to genetic mutations, different color variations exist. These include golden tigers with fainter stripes, white tigers with brown stripes, and totally white tigers. The stripes of a tiger's coat are all unique, a little like our own fingerprints. They have the longest canine teeth. The Bengal tiger has the longest canine teeth of all current feline species, measuring up to 4 inches long. They also have a crippling bite thanks to their very strong bone and muscle arrangement. They have good vision. The sense of sight is used to move around and hunt, preferably at the end of the afternoon or at night. They are usually more active during these times. It's estimated tigers rely more on their vision and hearing than smell to locate their prey. This is unlike domestic cats, which have relatively poor vision. Discover 10 breeds of cats that look like tigers in the info video we share above. They eat upwards of 50 prey animals a year. Tigers are carnivorous animals that prefer to hunt live prey, although in times of scarcity they can eat carrion. Their main prey are hoofed animals, but they can expand their diet in different ways by eating fish, snakes, crocodiles, birds and monkeys. To maintain themselves properly, and although they do not eat every day, these cats need to consume between 50 and 60 animals per year. Their prey usually weighs from 40 to 90 pounds. They have different hunting strategies. They do not normally pursue their prey over long distances. Instead, they hunt by ambush as they are very quiet, cautious, camouflage very well, and manage to stay low to the ground when necessary. Since they are solitary and territorial animals, they do not hunt in a group but alone. They are an excellent swimmer and jumper. We tend to believe that all cats are repelled by water and avoided at all costs. This is not the case with Bengal tigers. These cats are capable of submerging themselves in a river without problem and can swim up to about 19 miles. A tiger can jump up to 25 feet in length and up to 16 feet in height. They have different ways to communicate. Tigers communicate in three main ways: olfactory, vision, and sound. They produce a musky substance that binds with urine and sprays in different areas of their territory. They also carry out making marks by scratching rocks and trees with their claws, in addition to the traces they leave behind underfoot. They also emit sounds such as roars to warn of their strength and size, or moans that indicate submission. They can live in different habitats. In the past, tigers were mainly present in areas with dry and cold climates, but now they are generally distributed in forests. However, they are able to diversify through different types of habitat, from places almost 4,000 meters high to those with temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. They live about 10 years in the wild. Typically, a tiger lives in the wild for 8 to 10 years, while in captivity, their life expectancy is 16 to 18 years. They are in danger of extinction. In 2015, the amount of wild tigers remaining in the world was about 3,200 individuals. Although certain regions have reported some population increase, the general population is depleting. These data should give us pause for reflection and help us prioritize conservation efforts for animals like the tiger. We now move from the land to the sea with facts about one of the most curious animals, the jellyfish. They have existed for millions of years. Jellyfish have existed on Earth for millions of years, more specifically around 600 million years. The first fossils attributable to jellyfish date back to the Paleozoic era. They are mainly made of water. Jellyfish are animals belonging to the Cnidarian family. As we know, their morphology is bell-shaped, thanks to which they are able to move through the water using their characteristic rhythmic contractions. These curious and fascinating beings are only around 5% solid matter, with the rest being made up of water. Their mouth also acts as an anus. Despite being made up of so little solid matter, they have a fully functioning, if not slightly more unconventional, digestive system. They are able to ingest and metabolize their prey through a mouth located on the lower side of their anatomy. Perhaps unexpectedly, this mouth also acts as an anus, as they use it to excrete feces after metabolism. Some can glow in the dark. Bioluminescence is the ability of some living organisms to produce light, something you may have been able to see in certain species of jellyfish. These animals transform chemical energy into light energy to defend themselves against predators, attract prey, or even court potential mates. They have neither brain nor blood. A jellyfish body can be described as a mobile water sac. The anatomy of jellyfish is made up of 2 layers of fine cellular tissue, between which is an inert and aqueous material. If you want to know other rare marine animals, don't miss the video we share in the card above. If you enjoy our AnimalWised content, think about giving us a super thanks, as it helps us to continue making it. They sting even after they are dead. Have you ever stepped on a jellyfish body washed up on the beach? They can be easy to miss as their transparent and sticky bodies end up covered in sand, making them a risk for anyone walking barefoot on the shore. If you've ever stepped on one by accident, you'll know that the tentacles of a dead jellyfish still cause welts, albeit to a lesser extent. They have several types of reproduction. These marine animals are characterized by a complex life cycle which involves alternating reproductive habits in successive generations. One generation will reproduce sexually by fertilizing eggs with sperm, while the next will reproduce asexually by cloning themselves. Jellyfish are oviparous and lay hundreds of eggs, incubating them between their tentacles. One jellyfish species is one of the most deadly animals. The Australian box jelly, nicknamed the sea wasp, is one of the most deadly animals in the world. As their name suggests, they live in Australia and their venom is used to quickly paralyze their prey, something which is usually fatal. Although rare, it has been known to kill humans thanks to their highly concentrated toxins. There is a type of giant jellyfish. The giant lion's mane jellyfish is recognized worldwide for being the largest jellyfish in the world. The body of this species can reach almost 4 meters in diameter and its tentacles almost 40 meters long, something which will make it intimidating to any passing swimmers. The smallest jellyfish is one of the most venomous. Known as the irukandji jellyfish, it has a body that measures approximately 35 millimeters in diameter and tentacles that are barely 1.2 centimeters long. For this reason, it is considered the smallest jellyfish in the world. However, it is known to be the second most poisonous jellyfish in the world, even becoming deadly if treatment is not received in time. You may think you're more familiar with our next animal, but these fox facts might just surprise you. They are the smallest canids. On average, foxes are the smallest animals within the Canidae family, with the smallest species of any canid being a type of fox. This honour goes to the fennec fox, which measures between 0.5 and 0.7 metres in length and weighs an average of 0.8 kilograms in the case of females and 1.5 kilograms in males. They have a distinctive head. Although foxes have a dog-like appearance, their skull is distinctive in that it is more flattened and the snout is pointed. Their ears are also vertical and pointed. In this way, the foxes have a characteristic head shape compared to other canids. They have unique markings. Another feature of foxes that allows them to be distinguished is the presence of dark or black triangular patches between the eyes and the nose. The tip of the tail also has a different colour than most of the rest of their fur. They use their tail to regulate their temperature. A fox's tail is also very particular. It's covered in thick fur and takes up approximately a third of their total body length. This is relatively long for a mammal and allows them to appear bigger at different times. In certain instances, they can use the tail to regulate body temperature in cold areas, as they can wrap it around to keep their body warm. They hunt by jumping. In general, these animals are good hunters, but they have a typical way of capturing certain prey. This consists of pouncing down vertically and coming down hard on their victim to stun them. They are not strict carnivores. Although they belong to the order Carnivora, they do not have a strictly carnivorous diet. They are actually omnivores. Their feeding behaviour is quite opportunistic, and they take advantage of many resources present in their habitat. While they feed on a variety of vertebrates and invertebrates, they also eat eggs, various types of fruit, berries, seeds, leaves, and roots. They can live in very diverse habitats. Foxes are distributed mainly in the Northern Hemisphere in America and Europe, but they are also present in parts of Asia and Africa. Within this range, they develop as a species in a variety of habitats such as deserts, semi-deserts, tundras, savannas, forests, maritime zones, cultivated areas, lowlands, and mountains above 4,000 metres. Find out more curious information about animals with our first info video on turtle facts you may not know. They are good parents. When about to give birth, females take shelter in an underground den. They do not usually emerge for 3 months after labour, which is when weaning occurs. During this time, the male will bring food to their mate, and he will also share food with the cubs when they begin to wean. When the cubs eventually do exit the den, they do so as a family, with both parents helping to teach the little ones hunting techniques and other skills to help them fend for themselves. Foxes can even help support young that are not their own. They emit very peculiar vocalizations. Foxes emit various sounds to communicate, which are unique to each individual. They can emit barks of 3 syllables, which are believed to be for identification of specific family members, and high-pitched barks of 1 syllable to alert or warn. They also emit a sound known as geckering. This is described as a kind of stutter emitted from the throat and is used for mating season or in conflicts with other foxes. They are very fast. In general, they are fast animals that can reach around 50 kilometers per hour. However, the species that is particularly fast within the group is the swift fox, which can even exceed this amount. We have reached 70 facts, so feel free to let us know your favourites so far as we continue with one of the most adorable animals in the world, the koala. They are marsupials. In terms of grouping, koalas are marsupial animals. This is because females have a pouch known as a marsupium in which their young complete their growth. For baby koalas, gestation only lasts about 35 days, after which the fetus is born. They weigh around a pound in weight at this point, but they crawl into the marsupium and develop. After 6 or 7 months, they leave the pouch for the first time. They are endemic to Australia. These peculiar mammals are endemic to Australia. Although they previously had a greater distribution, at present they are restricted to the northeast, central and southeast of Queensland, with some discontinuous presence in western regions. They are also in eastern New South Wales, in Victoria and the southern southeast. Not all are the same size. These cute-looking animals, despite their small size, are stocky. Although subspecies have not been formally recognised so far, they have different weights and sizes depending on both sex and whether they live to the north or south of the aforementioned regions. They have opposable fingers and fingerprints. Their front legs have 5 toes, but the first 2 are opposable to the rest. This adaptation allows them to climb since they have arboreal habits. On their hind limbs, the first toe is short and separated, the second and third are fused. Also, they have sharp claws. Perhaps the most curious feature about their limbs is that they have fingerprints just like humans. They have good sense of hearing and smell. Koalas have poor eyesight, however, given the type of lifestyle they lead, this is not as important as hearing and smell, which are highly developed. With the first sense, they manage to interact and develop socialization, mainly for reproduction. As for smell, their distinctive nose allows them to perceive and evaluate the food they consume. Their name means no drink. The term koala comes from the Australian word gula, which means no drink. For some time, it was thought that these marsupials did not need to drink water. However, this is not true. Although they take some water from the plants they consume, they do require other sources of hydration. They eat up to 1 kilogram of toxic plants. Koalas are herbivorous animals that feed mainly on some species of eucalyptus plant. These are plants that contain toxic compounds which would be harmful to other animals. However, koalas have developed an anatomical and physiological system that allows them to feed on these leaves without causing damage. They sleep almost all day. Koalas have a slower metabolism than most mammals. This is related to a need to conserve energy, in turn due to their low nutrient diet. To optimize the maintenance of their energy, these animals spend most of their time sleeping, usually around 18 to 20 hours a day. They have a small brain. In relation to the size of their head and the rest of their body, and when compared to other marsupials, koalas have a small brain. Their brain is also smoother in texture. This is believed to be because a larger and more complex brain would require more energy. They are prone to chlamydia. Unfortunately, chlamydia is a bacterial infection that is common in koalas. These animals usually carry the bacteria that causes the disease, but without generating any symptoms. However, due to the increased stress in these marsupials caused by alteration of their habitat, their immune system is depressed, giving way to bacterial infection that can cause blindness and infertility. From furry to slimy, we learn some incredible facts about frogs in our next video. They are a very diverse group. Frogs and toads are the most diverse amphibians that exist, with more than 7,000 currently known species. The next most diverse amphibian is the salamander, with a relatively paltry 738 species, and the third position is held by caecilians, with only about 212. These numbers indicate that frogs of the order Anura make up more than 80% of current amphibians, of which some 56 families and 452 genera have been classified. The greatest diversity lives in the tropics. Frogs have a wide global distribution, only being absent from certain volcanic islands, Antarctica, and extremely arid areas. The greatest diversity of this amphibian occurs in the tropical regions of our planet. They are associated with various bodies of water or areas with high humidity, something essential for reproduction. There are translucent frogs. There's a family of frogs called Centralinidae, commonly known as glass frogs. Although most of their body is green, their name is derived from the translucent patch of skin that can be found in their abdomen, which allows their internal organs to be visible. When they are moving or feeling safe, their blood circulates normally, so their insides are easily seen. But when they are in danger, they concentrate their blood in the liver to hide them. There are frogs with tails. Most frogs carry out external fertilization. However, the males of a few species have an extension of the cloaca that is used as a copulatory organ, using it to internally fertilize females. These species live in rapid water currents and, in addition to their tail, have other adaptations such as reduced lung capacity and hardened fingertips. Some frogs have horns. There are species that have dermal protuberances over the eyes that look like horns. Several of these species are grouped in the genus Ceratophorus and are typical of South American countries, mainly those around the Amazon. They are voracious frogs, capable even of eating small mammals such as rats. If you're enjoying this video, you can help us to create more of the content that you love by leaving us a super thanks. They all have vocal cords. It's common to hear the song of frogs in various areas, something possible thanks to the presence of vocal cords through which air passes and sounds are produced. Males have much more developed vocal cords than females, and the emission of these vocalizations is mainly used to attract mates and reproduce. They only have teeth in the upper jaw. Frog teeth do not meet in their jaw. Frogs are vertebrate animals, so they also have teeth, but the teeth are only present in the upper jaw. These teeth are known as vomerine teeth, so called because they are located in the vomer bone found in the roof of the mouth. There are very poisonous frogs. Virtually all frogs can produce toxic substances known as bufotoxins, which they excrete through their skin. They use these to defend themselves and avoid becoming prey. The toxicity of the substances varies from species to species, with some only producing slightly irritating and unpleasant bufotoxins. Others, such as the poison dart frog, are extremely poisonous and can even be lethal to humans. Discover which are the most venomous animals in the world in the info video we share above. There are giant and dwarf frogs. On one hand, we can find the Goliath frog, which is considered the largest in the world. Their length can reach about 12 inches and they can weigh over 6 pounds. At the other extreme, we have species in the pedophrene amioins, native to Papua New Guinea, which measure about 7 millimeters. They are in danger of extinction. Frogs have not escaped the dramatic situation that animal biodiversity is experiencing globally. Alterations to their habitat, climate change, and increases in ultraviolet radiation are just some of the causes that have put various species of frog at risk. Some endangered frogs are the poison dart frog, the Darwin's frog, the harlequin poison frog, or the yellow-spotted tree frog. And finally, we end this collection of surprising info with 10 facts about sharks you may not know. They can't stop swimming. Did you know sharks stay on the move even when they sleep? The lack of a swim bladder in this animal group means they cannot remain motionless even when resting. The need to keep moving is due to the action of the shark's gills. This part of the respiratory system is responsible for exchanging gases in the aquatic environment, allowing them the oxygen they need to survive. To allow this exchange to take place in the first place, the shark needs to move so water can be pushed through the gills. Without the constant movement, the shark will not survive and would eventually fall down dead to the bottom of the ocean. Some sharks can reach incredible sizes. Find out some more of the world's biggest animals in the info video above. The GPS of sharks is the Earth's magnetic field. Sharks are able to harness the Earth's magnetic field to use it as a compass. This amazing ability has been developed during their evolution, which allows them to navigate the world seas which they inhabit. It is particularly important for their long migrations, which make up part of their biological cycles. This curious behaviour gives them the ability to follow their own interior maps and routes for the necessary journeys in their lives. It is an incredibly fascinating example of animal adaptation, which has allowed them to survive when other animal species haven't. How sharks detect their prey. In addition to recognising the Earth's magnetic field, sharks have the curious ability to detect electrical currents emitted by their prey when in motion. In doing so, they can more accurately orient themselves and strike for a kill. Their ability to perceive these currents is due to something known as the ampullae of Lorenzini. These form a network of electroreceptors located in the shark's snout, acting as a sensory organ capable of detecting electrical charges around the shark. If you're enjoying these fun shark facts, remember you can help the channel continue to grow with a super thanks. The gigantic and feared jaw of sharks. Certain sharks are known worldwide for the ferocity of attack, but not all sharks are equally aggressive. This depends largely on their type of diet. For example, although the largest fish in the world, the whale shark feeds on phytoplankton. They only have vestigial teeth and are harmless to even much smaller animals. More common are sharks with powerful muscles and razor-sharp teeth. This allows them to kill and dismember prey in seconds. Shark bones. Taxonomically, sharks are differentiated from other fish in part due to their skeleton. They are chondrichthyan fish with a cartilaginous skeleton. Most other fish have a bony skeleton called osteichthyes. This cartilaginous skeleton is characterized by being very light and flexible, allowing them to move quickly and agilely in the water. It also explains why they are so fast when it comes to catching their prey. Shark camouflage. In the immensity of the deep sea, many animals opt for camouflage as a survival technique. The vast majority of them tend to do so to go unnoticed among their predators. In the case of sharks, this technique may not seem very useful since they are usually the main predators and do not have to hide from larger animals. But sharks camouflage themselves so their prey does not see them, enabling them to attack with great speed and agility. If you want to continue learning about other wild animals, don't miss the playlist we share here. Leave a comment to tell us what fact surprised you the most, and we'll see you for more fascinating animal facts still to come.